Well, I came here actually to listen to the scholars and the religious leaders of this world. But a few minutes ago, Father asked me to say a few words, which I'm always glad to do, especially when it's something I believe in. I grew up Presbyterian, and for 38 years, that was my church. And I then became Episcopalian for about 9 years, just before I got married to my ex-wife, Ariana, who is Greek Orthodox. During our marriage, I was exposed to Orthodoxy, and we brought up our children in both churches. We went both to the Episcopal Church and the Orthodox Church. As some of you may know, if you're from California, I was a congressman and I ran for the United States Senate. And when I lost that race in 1994, something that I thought was very important to me, that is becoming a senator, was all of a sudden no longer an option. That's a good thing. Sometimes the things that we don't want are the best things for us. So after that loss, which at the time was devastating, the next summer I went over to Greece, and I took my kids and my Greek priest, who was a friend, and his wife and child, and he introduced me to a monk in a little town of Lindos. And this monk, his name is Father Amphilochios, who now happens to be the Archbishop of New Zealand, but at that time was a simple monk. When I met him, I felt the presence of God. I looked into his eyes. I can't say that that's ever happened to me before or since. We all have God within us, but I absolutely felt it with this, what I call holy man. And on the spot that evening, I said I wanted to become Orthodox. And I said, where is the center of Orthodoxy? And he said it was in a place called Constantinople, Istanbul. I said, well, that's where I'd like to be chrismated. Now, I had been to Turkey many times. I had been in the oil business. We had operations in Turkey, but I'd never looked at it from a religious standpoint before. And so my children and I went over there with Ariana, and she was already Orthodox, but we became Orthodox. At one point, I asked my monk friend, I said, well, what happens if I'm dying on an island in the Pacific Ocean? And there's only a Catholic priest on that island. Can he give me last rites? And he said, well, under our church rules, no. But I persisted. I said, Father, I'm dying. And the Catholic is a Christian. And he thought about it, and he said, well, absolutely. And that's when it started giving me the idea that we needed to bring our churches together. I don't think there's anything more important, and shouldn't be anything more important in all of our lives than God. And if we're Christians, therefore, Christ and the Holy Spirit. And at the end of the day, we all know we're going to die. And that day gets closer and closer as each day, each sunset goes down. So I thought with my priest here in California at St. Sophia Cathedral that we should work together to find a way to start an institute to bring Christians together on a local basis at least. Knowing that this might be a 100-year project, hopefully not, but it could be. And he was a teacher here at Loyola Marymount, Father John Bacchus, and so I had not really been exposed to Loyola. I was a graduate of Stanford, but that's not the most, I love the school, but it's not the right fertile ground for what we're talking about. And so I came here, and it was quite self-evident that Loyola Marymount, with its students, its faculty, and its history, was the right place to start the Institute. And so we did it almost 10 years ago. And I have to say I'm very pleased to see what's been happening. And I hope over time that we, all of us, and others who come into contact with it, will have, on an individual basis, an impact upon bringing the churches together, so that the Patriarch and Pope who want to do that can see on a local level what can be done. And I'm so glad that Father Cyril is here now, because he has not only a local perspective by being here, but a hugely international perspective with many of the people here from around the country and the world. So with that said, I hope this conference or symposium goes very well. Unfortunately, I can't stay very long because I have to go to a wedding this afternoon, but it's not my own. But it is important. Weddings are important, as are baptisms. But I'm pleased to be a associated with the institution of Loyola Marymount, and I hope that all of you will participate to the extent that you can in asking questions of those who are giving their presentations, and I wish you well on your presentations. Thank you so much.